Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sprint 221 review. This is a normal 2-week sprint. Let's get started. I'll start with the overview, Jeffrey on the UI, Adam on providers, and Joe on the platform. This sprint, we had 126 PRs merged. And as you can see, much like the last sprint, we had a lot of test PRs, another blast out to clean up some GitHub actions. And over to Jeffrey on the UI.
In this sprint, we merged a total of 8 PRs into the UI Classic repository. Out of these, 1 PR was related to bug fix, 3 PRs were for enhancing features, 4 PRs were for various other changes. I can explain about them in the following slides. While attempting to access the tenants list page, an error notification was displayed. Jay resolved this issue in this pull request. Next slide. Previously in chargeback reports, a user could view by project and each line was listed by date. With this PR from Keenan, the users can now view by dates as a primary layer with projects listed beneath on all chargeback reports. Next slide. We received a feedback from one of our customers who expressed a dissatisfaction with rendering of the smart management section on the summary pages. As a result, we have enhanced the section by reducing white space and to make it more readable. Next slide. In the settings diagnostic zone page, the C&U gap collection tab contained a form which was written in Ruby. Anu had converted this form to React. After completing the user summary conversion from HTML to React, Amal renamed certain method names to a more generic ones in a separate PR. Then Jason upgraded the Yarn version in Classic to 4.0.0 to RC51. Jason also upgraded the Actions checkout version from V3 to V4. And the last PR is from Joe, aimed at adding more package lockdowns. This is done to prevent ES Abstract 1.22 from being installed in the S390X environment due to compatibility issues when running it under Yarn 1. Additionally, the PR introduced array include in the package.json file. That's all from the UI side. Over to Adam.
Thanks, Jeffrey. For providers this sprint, for the IBM CIC provider, Nasser fixed a bug with some missing catalog types. The catalog types are not being inherited from the parent OpenStack provider, and so the option wasn't visible on the UI when you're going to do a catalog provisioning. For OpenStack, we fixed a bug where numeric-only passwords were being explicitly dropped as an option. This was causing issues where if a user actually had their password being only numbers that you were unable to refresh the OpenStack provider. This was particularly an issue for a community user using Overt and the Neutron OVN provider. This was a workaround for a bug in Fog, which was fixed a while ago. We just never got around to deleting this particular check, and so it was a pretty easy verification and then remove that logic there. And for VMware, we fixed an issue with host systems that were missing the summary config product vendor. We require this so that we can make sure that the host is of a type that we are recognizing, but if it was missing, it was throwing a nil class exception. So we now just mark these as unknown if the value is missing. Next slide. For workflows, we fixed some tests that were broken after we renamed the states to state history in the context. There's just an expectation that there was a state's value in the context, so had to rename that. Keenan had a really nice change to move all of the state out of the workflow class. So basically all the instance variables that were set in workflow, move them into context so that it's possible to dump and reload the entire workflow from the serialized context, which is something we're going to require for the workflows from ManageIQ, running them from there as opposed to from the command line. And we also added the ability to run workflow tasks asynchronously, which is going to open up the ability for us to do non-blocking workflows so that you're able to orchestrate multiple workflows running at the same time from a single thread in the future. That's it for providers. Over to Joe.
Thanks, Adam. For platform enhancements and improvements, Jason upgraded to Yarn 4 in the plugin generator. He also removed a Yarn 1 hack in RPM build now that Yarn 4 works on S390X. Keenan dropped in the EMS destroy callback since it was only used for logging. And I added net FTP as a gem dependency, as it's no longer included in standard library in Ruby 3.1. Next slide. For platform bugs, Adam added the application domain to the pod environment so we can build accessible URLs. Keenan removed the dependent destroy on through associations, which already were handled by other associations. And Nasser changed Podify to add Kafka network policies only when it's configured to use this messaging service. That's it for the platform. Next slide.
All right, and that's it for our Sprint 221 review. The next Sprint review 222 will be on October 4th at the usual place and time. And as always, I'd like to thank everyone in the community, all of our presenters today. We'll see you next time.